decide a challenge.
Ding dong middle high, ding dong middle high. We want some figgy pudding, we want some figgy pudding, we want some figgy pudding. Bloody carol singers can sod off. Anyway, if it wasn't obvious to everyone, if it wasn't obvious to everybody, that was a really shit opening to a video. Possibly not my shittest intro to a video, but damn close. Anyway, if it wasn't obvious to everybody, it is that time again. And what is that time again? That time again is, of course, good old Christmas. And it seems a little bit early, yet the shop near me is full of Christmas. It has been infused with Christmas, the shelves are bulging with Christmas. A little bit left over Halloween because they couldn't sell it all, but mostly just huge volumes of Christmas. And that is what brings us here to this video. For you should have probably seen the title, and old hands at having watched my channel for years will know exactly what this means. But for anybody new, I will explain. But firstly, I'm here to announce it's Christmas, so it's Christmas! Obligatory. It has to be done each time. Okay, first things first, let's discuss what you're viewing in the background, theoretically at least. You might just have my voice in the background, which surely is absolutely intolerable. So, to clarify, it's slightly sped up, hence why they've slightly got chipmunky voices. Good old Squall at the beginning, I know he goes, "And alone. Friends. Different, manifest. I've had enough of these guys, burn them up." And anybody who talks with that level of pitch potentially does not have friends. But nonetheless, the gameplay footage you are watching is Dissidia NT, I believe it's called. It's the Final Fantasy fighting game that, for whatever reason, seems to have failed miserably. And I don't quite know why, because I really quite like it. I'll give you a bit of an understanding of the gameplay. I will just clarify as well, I've pre-recorded the footage. You may have guessed that by the fact that it's sped up, and by the fact that I'm not constantly going, "Oh, hey, yeah, oh," although that doesn't often stop me. But as is tradition, I've pre-recorded some gameplay footage, and I'm now talking over it for this Christmas announcement. And Dissidia's fun, I like it. It's extremely frenetic, it's fast-paced beyond belief. This is the free version on Steam for those interested. It's very, very limited, you only get 4 free characters to try. Fortuitously for me, my favourite character, Mr. Squall Leonhardt, who, I like him, he's a miserable, depressed little git, but I like him all the same. Final Fantasy VIII is probably my favourite Final Fantasy. I don't know specifically why. Partially because it was one of the first I played, partially because I had a friend years and years ago who was very passionately in love with Final Fantasy VIII, and I think that made a little bit more of an infused nature of, his enthusiasm leached over into me, and we both got a kick out of discussing Final Fantasy VIII, and I remember he sort of handed me over an entirely legal copy of the Final Fantasy VIII soundtrack, which I very much appreciate, because it's a hell of a soundtrack and a hell of a game. I love Final Fantasy VIII, so that's a thing to note. But is it a thing to note? No, not really. You don't have to get your notepads out this time. You can just sit back and relax and not do any homework. But yeah, so it was quite handy that the free 4 characters available. I think it was Garland, who's Final Fantasy 1 or 2's villain. Then there was Shantato. I think she's something to do with Final Fantasy 11. No, Final Fantasy 11, I believe, was the online one, if memory serves. The first of the 2 online ones. And I think Shantato played a part in that. I can't remember. Then the other free character, I can't remember who that was, so they clearly made 0 impact on my desire to play a character. So essentially this is entirely Squall footage, because Squall, out of those 4, Squall was undoubtedly the best, and out of most characters, Squall is undoubtedly the best. You can see I've partnered up with Cloud, and I partnered up with Rinoa Heartley, because I figured, Squall and Cloud make one hell of a team, just as a team of awesome. Because, of course, Cloud and Final Fantasy VII come a close second to being the best of the best. For me, Final Fantasy VIII and Squall takes it slightly, but I can't deny Final Fantasy VII is a landmark in video game history and was phenomenally well made, and I do look forward, to a certain extent at least. It's going to be interesting to see precisely what they do with it and precisely how it plays. It certainly looks gorgeous, but the remake of Final Fantasy VII, I mean, I wouldn't say no to a remake of Final Fantasy VIII. Because I love the system, the draw and junction. How very appropriate. On the screen he did the draw and junction special. He's got a special EX move called Draw and Junction, which I can't remember exactly what it does in the context of this game, but nonetheless, in the original game you could draw magic from opponents, then you could either cast it immediately or store it away and then junction it to statistics, and I thought that was a really clever system. There's an element of like flaw in that system, because I remember having a vastly overpowered Squall towards the end of Final Fantasy VIII, although it wasn't that near the end, in fairness. I think fairly early doors I managed to get myself a really overpowered fucking Squall because I put something on strength and it raised his strength through the roof. So basically any normal attack, Squall was like wiping people out, doing, you know, your standard 9,999 damage. And I don't think it was that difficult to get to that situation. So there's some flaws in the draw and junction system from Final Fantasy VIII, but I think it was very unique and interesting. I really rather enjoyed it. The other flaw, I think, was the fact that because you had to junction stored magic, and the more magic you had, the more, you know, the greater increase on the stat it was junctioned to, which meant that weakness sort of made you go, do I want to cast the spell that I've got junctioned to my strength? No. I'd prefer to just twat him in the face because I'm extra strong. I don't want to lose that level of strength. So there was flaws in the system, but at the end of the day, I really rather enjoyed it. And the Guardian Forces I thought were quite entertaining and fun. A bit more free to sort of... Because some summons, you don't necessarily feel like you ought to use them, and other summons you feel like you really, really ought to use... Not... Oh, don't know what I'm saying. I think Final Fantasy VIII felt like the summons were a bit freer. You could just use them without caring too much. But I can't recall precisely why that is. Whereas some of them, like the summoning requirements, are a bit awkward and a bit weird, or you just want to save it up and not use it, that sort of mentality. But nonetheless, I enjoyed the Guardian Forces. Both their sort of... Because Final Fantasy VIII brought us Doom Train, which was fun. It was just a like demonic train that came through. It's hilarious. Right, I've just realised how late I've been babbling about Dissidia, and I mean, look, this is traditional, but I have noted I haven't gotten to the point of this video. I've just been babbling about Final Fantasy, which, I mean, I could genuinely, I could babble about Final Fantasy until the cows came home, and it takes a long old time for those cows to come home, a long old time. Right. The point of the video. It's Christmas. I'm sorry. Obligatory. It's Christmas! You have to do it in that way, otherwise the police come round and beat your door in. But, glad you didn't put a back in between that sentence, eh? Right. As the Holy Trinity of normal viewers will know, it's not important that you listen to this explanation. You should know it by now. You've partaken, or partook. Maybe either or is fine. But you've taken part in it for many years now. You certainly took part in it last year, and it's coming back, which is the Christmas special gifts. The gifts from me to you. Oh, you sick freak. Yep, I know. Anyway, it's all about you this Christmas when you can pick games for me to play as part of the Christmas special. So, as I say, anybody, Oni, CS, Sleeves of War, you three, you were part of it last year, and I hope you enjoyed that thoroughly and very much liked what you ended up with. This year, maybe some more people would like to join. Hello, more people. But I will go through the rules. Yes, that's right, there's rules for Christmas. I suppose I can give the backstory as I so often do. I'm probably a over-controlling freak, but what I find with Christmas is it's much easier in order to get things you really want, it's easier to write a big old long list of things you want. And then you hand it to the individual purchasing these things for you, and then they can go, well, I tell you what, how about that one, and that one. And so you still don't know what specifically you're going to get, but you do know you're going to get things you want. So you still get that opening of, oh, what's it going to be? Oh, good, I did want that. It's a way of ensuring you get what you want, whilst also allowing for the surprise. It's a lovely method. It's the method I've used for many years now. It's very convenient. Feel free to use it yourself if you so choose. But that's what this whole idea, this Christmas gift special, is designed around. I ask you to provide me a list of gifts that I could provide you, and then I provide you said gift, and it's a little bit of a surprise when it comes out because, oh, you didn't know which of the gifts you were going to get. So, what you need to do is in the comments section below, if you wish to receive a gift of some kind, and by gift, I mean I'm going to play the game and talk over it. It's just to clarify, you're not actually getting a thing. It's an entirely intangible and pointless gift, but, you know, it's all I have to offer. But anyway, the point is, if you would like me to play a game that you choose for you, dedicated to you at Christmas, place in the comments section below. The optimal number is 3 to 5 game suggestions, because then 3 gives me a bit of wiggle room to keep the surprise element. 5 is probably a decent upper tier to keep it within reason. So 3 to 5 games in the comments section below. Ideally, if you could write the full title and the console it is on, at that point I can look it up and find out about it, if you manage to surprise me. Rather nicely, last year, I believe Oni... I can't remember what Oni asked for last year. Should have started with Sleeves of War. I believe Sleeves of War managed to pick multiple games I had just plain old never heard of. And that was rather pleasant, because I believe that was Gotcha Force and Ring of Red, and the pair of them, never heard of, turned out fucking phenomenal games. And I believe Oni definitely did Ghouls and Goblins. I feel like there was probably another one in there somewhere that I hadn't heard of, but I can't remember. Look out for an annotation around about this point, informing everybody that I'm an idiot who should have paid more attention. I also remember I had a lot of fun with... yeah, What console's that on? It's on the Slimhanda. No, CS SquarePants, I know you asked for Rocket League. That was a lot of fun. Highly entertaining stuff. I'm running out of footage. Oh my god, you fucking moron. You should have put in more footage. I got a little bit of backup footage, but the kind of point was to not need it. But I've rambled and rabbited. Anyway, just to go through some extra little details for you. So pick 3 to 5 games, but it's fairly sort of open-ended as to what games you can pick. Because in terms of old school consoles, they're fairly safe. You can sort of emulate those reasonably safely and... what's the word I was looking for? I don't know. Shit. Is that one of the things you want on your Christmas list? What, shit, or the word I was after? No, I meant the word you were after. Oh, yes, it was. Secure, safe and secure in the knowledge that I'd be able to... Stable, I think I was after the word stable. They're safe and stable stuff. So something along the lines of the NES, SNES, Genesis / Mega Drive, GameCube's reasonably good. I should have written this list a bit more carefully, but never mind. This is actually the... I grabbed the list I wrote last year, and I'd love to know if I actually had exactly the same issue. But okay, so consoles for games that are incredibly sort of safe and secure, I would say, was the NES, SNES, Genesis / Mega Drive. The Game Boy Color Advance is usually fairly safe. That's not a single console, that's 3 consoles. Oh my god, you should have written these better. Last year's me, please write notes in a slightly more decent order. Oh my god, I'm having the strangest sense of deja vu that I think that exact moment happened last year in the announcement video. The Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance, they're all fairly secure. The DS and the 3DS, again, reasonably safe bets. The PSP, not too bad, I don't think. Dreamcast, even more so than last year, it seems like a fairly safe bet. The Redream, for those of you who remember me doing the live stream of the 20th anniversary of the Dreamcast, will perhaps know that the Dreamcast emulator I used was bloody good. Bloody good. did everything I needed and more. So you're fairly safe bet there. PlayStation 1 tends to be a bit, just tiny bit iffy. PlayStation 2, usually fairly okay, but again, can be a little iffy. N64 is notoriously troublesome, but usually alright. What else we got here? GameCube, I think I may have mentioned. Dreamcast, N64, as I say, PSP, DS, 3DS, Game Boy Color Advance, GameCube, PS1, PS2, Genesis, Mega Drive, NES, SNES. So I think I've pretty much got every console covered there. I've not had any success with it, but I have been fiddling around with a new Xbox emulator. If you've got a choice spare and you think of an Xbox game you fancy the look of, I can have a go. But at the end of the day, I think last year I specified a good system is perhaps 3 games that you can be fairly safe in the knowledge that I can do, i.e. from the safe consoles list I've just gone through. A game where you go, I mean, he might have it on Steam, he might not. Fuck it, I'll have a punt, put it in. And then the 5th one could be something absolutely wild, like, as I say, pick an Xbox game that I potentially can't actually do, but nonetheless, you never know your luck, because Xbox is a bit, as I say, I've not had any success actually getting an Xbox game to work, so that's a little bit of a difficulty. Anyway, so have we, I suppose, other thing to note, I've got a fairly hefty library of Steam games. As I mentioned earlier, one of your ones could be, I mean, you might have it on Steam, or it might be on sale 1 week after I put it on the list. He might be willing to have a punt on a sale copy of the game to just give it a go. So, Steam games, relatively safe. Most PC games I can probably run fairly comfortably. Internet browser games, again, I can probably do them fairly comfortably. That one you might need to provide a link to the game, but then again, just the name and statement that it's an internet browser game, Google search probably sufficient. Most free-to-play style stuff. The examples I used last year were Paladins and Fortnite. I can equally add Dissidia Final Fantasy NT to that, because it is technically free-to-play. You'd have a very cut-down version of the cast, as specified, but nonetheless, it is free-to-play. I could easily use that, or any other sort of free-to-play game that's lurking around if you fancy. I think I've pretty much covered everything. I got very distracted with my Final Fantasy talk, and how much better Final Fantasy VIII is than any other Final Fantasy. Come at me, fucking fight me. I will put you in the fucking ground. The way Squall, with his ultra high strength stat when junctioned, can put anything else in the ground. So, that's the noise of defiance right there. I will defy you, sir. Oh, we'll run through everything just one final time to make certain it's all as clear as is humanly possible to make it when you're an incompetent such as I. In the comments section below, pick yourself 3 to 5 games, safe consoles, NES, SNES, Genesis, Mega Drive, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, GameCube, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS, PSP, N64, Dreamcast. As I've specified, some of them are a bit dodgier than others, but most of them tend to work out in the end. Have a punt on a Steam game, maybe. You can feel free to choose a game you know I already own as well. That's always an option. If you've seen me play a game in the past and you've gone, do you know what? Really needing to play more of that. I enjoyed it. It was brilliant content. Feel free to choose that. You've got absolute open choice. Anything you like. Anything video game related you can pretty much choose. There's really very few limits on what you can choose. As I say, past consoles. So we're looking at sort of up to the sort of PlayStation 2 era is reasonably doable. You've also got the 3DS that's doable. Other than that, I don't think there's much else in terms of consoles. As I say, I've been looking around at an Xbox, but it's a bit dodgy and doesn't seem to work. Or at least none of the ones I really want to try and experience seem to work, which is unfortunate, but that's the way the cookie crumbles, I suppose. So yeah, console game, Steam game, internet browser game, free-to-play game, whatever you fancy. 3 to 5 of those in the comments section below. I will pick one at the very least. Last year, because it was only 3 people participating, I actually ended up giving them at the very least 2 games each, and I believe only because I got... Or was it? Yeah, it was Oni, I think, because... Oh, Shantae! That was Oni's game last year. And that one I'd never played before, and that was really, really good. But I think... it might have been CS. I've been Sincere Squarepants who got 3 games last year because one of them angered me greatly, which I think was Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong just absolutely fucking pissed me off, so I gave him a 3rd game to try and make up for the absolute irritation I felt. Unless that was only after all. God, why can't I remember these things? I don't know. Anyway, it's not hugely important. But last year, because there was limited people, you ended up with 2 games each. So it will be at least 1 off of the list of 3 to 5, maybe more. I can't guarantee anything whatsoever. I can't even guarantee that this commentary will ever end or make sense. One final summarisation. 3 to 5 games in the comment section below. I'll pick one. That will be your Christmas gift. I will give unto you that gift, and I will play the game and celebrate you as an individual whilst playing the game, and generally wishing you a very, very Merry Christmas. That's pretty much it. That's the basic premise. I've listed the consoles that are fairly safe bets. You can have a go with a Steam game you're unsure I own. You can choose a Steam game you know I've owned because you've seen it in the past. It is entirely up to you how you form your list. My suggestion, 3 fairly safe bets. Take a punt on the last 2. You never know your luck. That's it, really. Congratulations. It's heading dangerously close to Christmas. Hopefully I can get everything done. I doubt it, because my track record is forever the day after the event it's supposed to be on. But anyway, I kind of... my instinct is to wish you a Merry Christmas, but it's not fucking Christmas yet. Unlike what, as I say, all the stores think, it is not fucking Christmas. I am just trying to get ahead of the game and announce the special so that everybody can put stuff in the comments until December, and then I can start putting everything together. Anyway, I will bid you a cheerio.
Mission accomplished. Appreciate it. Well done.